Om Swastiastu. Hello everyone, welcome back with me, Chyntia Wulandari. In this video, I will continue to read this book. Our ego inherent narcissism makes us see our needs as more pressing, more relevant, and have the highest priority than anything else there is in the entire existence. And what do these needs consist of? Mainly those that inflate and pander to this ego, such as the need for power, status, pride, identity, sense of importance, and all those things that make the ego end up focusing itself on the accumulation of material wealth, economic achievement, and various labels that reinforce its superior status and identity. Over time, what we call progress, industry, and achievement take its toll on our environment and the planet because it requires the conscious use, exploitation, and consumption of the planet's resources, leaving no room for much else to grow and thrive. Our thirst for power, territory, and ownership means we are constantly in conflict with others who are in the way of our desire and who compete with us for the same power. And we do this without once considering about what the long-term implication of our action would be to everything else outside ourselves and to the planet as a whole. For the ego is relentless and hard to satisfy. It cannot see beyond the limits of its constant and current desire, and will stay its course until it's shaken out of its narrow confines and forced to see things from a different view or a larger perspective. Normally, when disaster and tragedies wake the ego up from its obsession of the self to the realization that it is but a part of a much larger whole. Freed from the rule of ego, however, we discover that within us, we are also equipped with the capacity to see things as a whole. Mainly our beating heart within each one of us that allows us to connect with everything around us and enables us to realize that we are always and will always be inseparable from that connection. And when we do come to this realization, no doubt we will think, create, and act not based on the need of the ego, but on the needs of the entire planet of which we are very much a part. A planet that has existed long before humans colonized it, and which will continue to exist long after we destroy ourselves one way or another, if we persist in acting purely from our ego needs as a species. Who wants an eternal life? Every day we wake up, get out of bed, brush our teeth, take a shower, get dressed, have a cup of tea or coffee, and perhaps a little breakfast, and then it's off to whatever and wherever it is we do for a living, to the office, to school, to our workplace, by car, by train, by bus, and then we do what we mostly do to fill our days and earn our living, day in and day out. Or perhaps we stay home because work is the place we do our daily activities. There are the interminable daily chores to get done: prepare food, wash the dishes, clean the bathroom, tidy the room, throw out the rubbish, iron the clothes, feed the child or the pet, and so on, until the whole day is gone and we can relax for a little bit, maybe in front of the television. And then it's time for bed, and the next day we wake up and do more or less the same thing with maybe some variation. Perhaps we don't really do anything at all, except lounge around all day at our leisure, playing with our gadgets, scrolling through our social media feeds, munching on snacks, binge watching one television series after another until our eyes ache. From time to time, we chat online with friends and some family members, and we ask them how they are and what they are doing. And we share some funny videos and forward some feel-good advice about life and seizing the day and how to think positive thoughts. And after a while, we have nothing else to talk about, nothing new to share, and we can read one news feed after another until even that seems to dull our senses and dim our intelligence. And so we doze on the sofa and think of the things we need to do, the stories to write, the book to read, and the poems that we yearn to be able to put down on paper. And finally we fall asleep while time passes, and before we know it, it is dark outside and soon it will be time to go to bed. Imagine these daily routines that we have to repeat over and over again, daily, day in and day out, until the days, weeks, months, and years accumulate. To be sure, there are some interesting things that we do in between and milestones that we achieve, but we can bet this even during the most exciting days, there are still the same action that we have to repeat every day, and after a while, excitement to cease to be exciting when the novelty runs out and it becomes just another routine. It's hard to imagine anyone relishing doing the same thing over and over again, repeating the same action and performing some function day in and day out, even if they keep us healthy and alive. But then, such is life, and with it the constant need to keep ourselves fed, wash and clothe and house. Do this long enough, and at some point, one can only look forward to just not doing anything, to stop working, to retire and rest, or do something else that is different, until even that becomes a bore and a chore, until all we want to do is put our head down on a pillow and close our eyes, hopefully for a very long time. At least the human life has its limits, and we will at some point cease to exist, physically anyway, and we can be rid of having to do the same things over and over again. The idea that to go on existing interminably with no end in sight and no promise of rest or reprieve from the human condition then surely can only be frightful. Even more awful then is the idea that after finally leaving the physical body, the soul, instead of being extinguished once and for all, will go on continue eternally forever and ever, and to do so without even having any variety of day and night, light or dark, boring or exciting, that the physical life at least can experience. Imagine the soul freed from its temporal existence, merge itself with other souls in some kind of paradise and blessed or condemned, whichever way you want to look at it, to do the things that souls are supposed to do or to be for eternity. Can you imagine a life of abundance, joy, and love? It certainly sounds wonderful and a dream come true. And for most of us, this is the kind of life we aspire to after this life of earth, which is full of dryness, drudgery, hardships, and broken relationships. But to life of milk and honey surrounded by so much beauty, kind souls and divine love, and doing the same thing and feeling the same thing for eternity, it really doesn't sound like something one would want to look forward to. After all, we can only appreciate things like joy because we know what it is like to feel the opposite, and that joy itself doesn't last forever. We look forward to abundance because we live with a feeling of lack, and it is a state that is rare and precious for us, like the feeling of awe, a sensation when we fall in love, and all the other temporary states that the human condition allows us to experience.